Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for the official first episode of Mashin Sentai Kiramager, the traditional TV premiere, as opposed to the pre-premiere, there we go, that was episode 0, kind of this special, like, pilot before the pilot, which is really funny, and let's talk about that for a second. How, like, that was a special that was tagged alongside the Ryusoulger movie, I believe, but it's not like it was a weird, like, preview special or like a prequel that only focused on like the mythology or something. Like, it felt like a normal TV pilot, and I like how in order to have an actual functioning TV pilot that introduces everything cleanly, they have to do it as a special. Like, so regardless of how they have to do it to justify it to themselves, I would love to see that being done more in the future, whether it's tagged onto the movie or whether, honestly, why not do something like we did between Ryusoulger and, between Lupat and Ryusoulger, where they cut that time out for the Super Sentai battle, but instead of cutting time out for that, cut time for an episode 0, because I honestly loved that approach. I think Kiramager benefited so much both as a series and for me personally by having that. It really helped it not feel like a rushed pilot, but I kind of find it hilarious that they have to create this special to create what's just an actual good normal TV pilot. As for the first episode, if you look at this in a vacuum without having seen episode 0, it is your trademark rushed Sentai pilot. I don't think it was one of the worst ones though. It was more or less just like a checklist of a lot of things if you didn't see episode 0, but at least it didn't try to, like with Ryusoulger, I felt like it was both doing that checklist of things and trying to set up plot beats really quickly, and I like at least with this that we'll probably be getting more about the villains and stuff that you might not have seen if you didn't see episode 0 in the following episodes, and so it just kind of tried to hone in on one thing instead of trying to do multiple things. So like I said, in a vacuum it is more of a rushed episode, but if you look at it as like part 1 of 2, and episode 0 was part 1, and it's not so much like a two-parter, like it's one story that flows together, it's more like the first one focused on the core 4 and the other characters, and this one is more Red's episode from his perspective. Not the same events from his perspective, but you know, we're following him and all that stuff. So I think it works like that. You do get some awkwardness like later where some of the mythology is re-described, or Red introduces who the characters are to the audience, so you do get that a little bit, which kind of creates some awkwardness, but I still think it works well as essentially a two-parter, one on the 4 and one on the 1, which is Red. Start the episode with an attack where there's monster who's literally diarrheaing all over the place, and there's this funny explanation where like the villain guy, well, not Garza, but the other guy whose name I already forgot. It sounds like a breakfast cereal. It's like Captain Crunch or something, but he explains that he used like the iconography of a faucet to attack. He's like, they're going to be attacked by their own iconography, so that's probably going to be their explanation for why monsters look like everyday things since they're from another world, which is funny, but it's also a nice little detail that I appreciate, because you often have stuff like that where you're like, how do these people know what this is since they're not from this planet, if you know what I mean. So I kind of dig that. And so like while the attack's happening, when the Kiramagers are fighting it, Red's Gem is trying to recruit Red, because we saw it in episode 0 he was trying to find him, but in this episode you just start saying, I found him, and they're trying to convince him, and they give him the changer, and they actually travel through the gem, which is kind of a cool sequence, and bring him to the fight. And it's that scene from the pilot, from the trailer, which honestly, in the trailer, almost made it seem like the Kiramagers had been active for a long time, and he was like a fan, but that's not the situation. Even in this episode, if you're watching it on its own, it makes it seem like they've been active for a long time, but we know they've only been active for like maybe 2 days max. But so they're all fighting, and he's going around and drawing them, and it's like a combination of some funny stuff and some annoying stuff. That's kind of where I sit with his character, and I'll get to that in a minute. But we basically get that sequence from the trailer, if you remember it, of him doing that, and then at the end they all demorph, and he sort of, again, he introduces us to them and tells like, oh, you're a doctor, you're an actor, you're a runner, and then Yellow, he doesn't know who he is, and that's actually a really funny bit I liked in the episode, is that like, he knows who all these other people are and why they're important, but Yellow he doesn't know, and so as a result later when he makes their Zords, he doesn't know what to do with him, which is why he gets the shovel, which I think is really funny, and it kind of reminds me of the whole I'm a frog moment, and so I really thought that was a nice little bit. But so he's really unsure of himself, he doesn't know why he's been chosen, because everyone else has this, they keep describing it as a shine, and I can't help but think of The Shining. Some people shine! He's unsure of it, and he's like, I think I'm just I think I'm just a POS, guys. I don't think I'm cut out for this. And they're like, yeah, you kind of suck. And then I think it was Pink that said, I was excited for Red to be a strong character. I was like, girl, me too. I'm not a fan of these type of Reds, but I'm very mixed on him, because after that, there is a nice scene between him and the alien girl whose name I will learn in the penultimate episode of the series, and then immediately forget it. But so they're talking, and they're sort of talking about, like, you know, I'm not cut out for this, but then she sees his drawings he made, and he sort of came up with the idea for, well, mecha fighting them and for the weapons combining, and they discover that that's his shine, is his creativity and his unique Kiramental or whatever that works well is his creativity that can essentially mesh with the energies of the mecha to allow them to create things. And I actually kind of like that. When I saw episode 0, I assumed that what would happen would be that the tech company that's working with them would work with the gems to make them mecha, but in this case I kind of like that it hones in more on the mystical angle, where his sort of shine interacts with their magics or whatever it is that allow them to reform into whatever, and he chooses the car so that you can have a giveaway item that you can't just sell normally for whatever reason. So that happens, and they get the car, and he morphs in his first debut, and then he gives all of the Rangers their mecha. They say, hey, can you come up with ones for us too? And he gives them all ones based sort of off their traits. Some of it's a little bit of a stretch. He's like, Blue, you're a sharp guy, and this Jet's kind of sharp. So, but like, I still liked that idea. And like I said, it was funny that Yellow, he didn't know what to do with them, so he's like, a yellow shovel thing. Like, so I liked that. I liked the way it worked. And something that did carry over from what I praised from the first episode, or the 0 episode, was we didn't feel the need to full-on debut everything and shoehorn it. Like, there's many Sentai where they easily would have been like, here's the individuals, let's fight as Land and Sky Mage, and now we're all together in the period of like 2 minutes. So we just got a fight with the individual mecha, and I really like that we were taking our time on that. It gives them a chance to shine individually. I always like seeing the individual mecha fights too, because it creates something a little bit more different to watch than your standard mecha fight. And I always wish that series would have more fights with the individuals, but after the first episode or first couple, that kind of falls by the wayside. But I liked seeing that. I liked that we just debuted them, especially when we kind of gave focus to like, oh, he can create their forms, here's why you're this and this and this because of your traits, and we kind of allowed that to be the focus. And then like in the preview for next week, it looks like we're going to be getting Land and Sky Mage, and I'm really hoping that we're only getting those, and we're going to save Kiramager for episode 3. That would be great. I would love that. I like when they do a slower burn, so I'm definitely going to give them props for that. And overall, I found it to be an enjoyable episode. Like I said before, in a vacuum, it is a classic Rush Sentai pilot, but I think it greatly benefited from Sentai having an episode 0 this time, and I wish they would do stuff like that more often. It really got me invested in the series so much more, and it made this episode feel so much better when I felt like I knew the other Rangers, because this one basically just focused on Red outside of telling us the base character trait of the other Rangers and stuff like that. And I'm mixed on Red. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm not a fan of loud crackhead Reds. I'll make it known in videos that have nothing to do with it. I'm like, hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Here's a review for the Ben 10 Omnitrix. Trash crackhead Red. He's kind of mixed, because I did like aspects of his sort of the insecurity elements, because it's kind of relatable, you know, because I make sure to tell myself I'm trash every day when I wake up. But I liked that. I liked the creativity aspect. It very much gave me a Tokyuger imagination vibe. And I liked aspects of that kind of humanized them for a moment, because so oftentimes one of the main reasons I don't like these type of Red characters is that they don't feel like normal human beings. They feel like a catchphrase, like a walking button that you just press and they say a catchphrase, and he does have a catchphrase, which is rather annoying. But at least he actually commits to it, unlike Takaharu, they didn't feel like they were saying it. But so there's annoying moments like that, and I hate the whole idea that Sentai has of like, oh, the best leader for us is an absolute unqualified idiot. Like, I don't understand that logic. Like, well, because he doesn't think things through like you, he's more qualified. It's like when they're like, oh, Iris should be team leader, even though Cisco and Caitlin have been on the team for years, and they're scientists, and know exactly what's going on. I'm still bitter about that. They fixed it. But my point is I'm not a fan of these characters, but I'll say, to be fair, I think he's mixed for me right now. I think he has potential to be one of those early crackhead annoying Reds that actually can grow. Like, I think Lucky is a good example of that for me personally, of one that actually growed and matured. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for now. He definitely had some of those moments that I was annoyed by, but I think he showed signs that he could potentially be interesting and actually had some nice human moments within there. And the action was good this episode too. I thought that not the civilian fight, but the ranger fight and the mecha fight were both fun to watch. And I overall just really like the style of the series so far. I'm really nervous about it letting me down in the next few episodes because I think episode 0 really helped too, like I mentioned, laying that solid foundation, but I'm really just digging Kiramager's vibes. I'm into the story. I think it's laid down a really solid foundation. Just the whole style of it, I'm really vibing with the suits and the mecha, and it's got this really shiny presentation which works, and I'm just really vibing on it, and I'm hoping, speaking of Cisco, I'm just really hoping that that doesn't let me down, but at least for now I'm happy to be in a really pleasant Sentai mood. But this was a standard Sentai pilot, some solid enjoyment. It wasn't as good as episode 0, I would give it a 7, but I still have enjoyed the first 2 outings. Let's hope they can keep it up. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy episode 1? What are your thoughts overall on how you're vibing on the series so far? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications from my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.